Hello viewers, this is your captain speaking, back with another awesome tale today. We just invite you to sit back and relax as you enjoy today's story brought to you by We Were Kids, Theater and Cinema. Enjoy.
The dark and prideful laughter of the evil eagle only got louder and more frightening, and was thus heard by the other animals from the outside of the throne room and lair, wherein the lion dwelt formerly, before losing his title and right as ruler over the whole animal kingdom. This grieved them severely. The consequences of the lion's transgressions against the instructions given him did not only result to the loss of his title and honor, but also his right to rule and his abode, which was a blessing from his God. For as king, he was given the richest and most fruitful land mass in all of the animal kingdom, from where he administered righteous judgment before his fall. Although the animals knew that the eagle was very evil in all his ways, they were just about to feel the true extent and reach of his cruel nature, unbridled and untamed, for they had no idea. Now king and ruler of the kingdom, with no one with the might and ingenuity to oppose him, the evil eagle, within a short span of time, became an embodiment of the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely, especially when wielded by one with no morals, empathy, conscience, and all principles to limit his excesses. Although the reign of the evil eagle brought with it wicked laws, coupled with much pain and suffering, which only worsened throughout the course of time, the brunt of his administration, that is, the greatest cruelties and injustices, was especially aimed at the lion, to ensure that he above all remains in a state of disobedience, subservience, destitution, and penury. The eagle made sure he enforced laws that stripped the lion of all hope and will. Thus, any attempt towards welfare improvement was immediately crushed, so that the lion was at all times reverted to ground zero, or a continued state of struggle for survival on the bare minimum, enough to sustain life. Also, the evil eagle made certain to severely punish any animal that attempted or came to the aid of the lion, no matter how insignificant the assistance was, to the point that the lion was seen as a curse and an object of shame, so much so that no animal in the kingdom wished to come close to him nor associate with him, counting it bad luck to even speak of him. The lion was eventually treated as filth, rejected and abhorred everywhere, no matter how polite and respectful he tried to be. This went on until eventually he became a subject of mockery and a byword, that is, a derogatory appellation as an insult to his destitute and cursed state. As if this wasn't enough, the eagle made a law that permitted the lion to be used and exploited by all the other animals as they pleased without hire or appreciation. Thus, the lion was abused and forced to go daily to the four corners of the kingdom in servitude to all the animals therein, no matter how feeble and tiny the animals were who exploited the lion slavishly and capitalized on this law. He had no right to complain or refuse, for at this point he was deemed and declared by the evil eagle less than all the animals in the kingdom, and thus was commanded that he be treated as such. Each time the lion revolted for reasons of the hardship and unjust labor which drove him mad, more fetters were put on him, and he was punished the more whenever he spoke out. This was done to break and shatter him psychologically and physiologically. Although the rule of the eagle came with much suffering, collectively felt by all the animals, no suffering could compare to that of the lion, for he was exploited and used to build all the abodes of the animals, and to serve night and day like a mindless zombie, absent might and rights. So much that one could in some light strangely say that all the animals in the midst of suffering were blessed in the lion for reason of his exploitation, which brought some manner of growth and ease on a personal level in all the abodes of the animals in the kingdom. Encouraged by the evil eagle's mandate, which if disregarded came with grave consequences, almost all the animals thus over time became mean to the lion, because the evil eagle encouraged hatred towards the lion, fueled by propaganda against him, thereby rendering to him the most evil. For the evil eagle was determined to keep him subjugated, and above all, ensure that he constantly disregards the instructions of his God. For this truly was what ensured and guaranteed the eagle's power to maintain his right to rule, and on the other hand, sustain the present cursed nature of the lion.
Oh, great. Look at you. You've made it this far. I hope you're having a great time, and I believe you're having a great time. So, we're just here for a quick break, and my job is to remind you to subscribe if you haven't already, like if you're having a great time, and of course, leave a comment. We would like to know what you think about the story, and also your opinions about the moral of the story. The story isn't over yet, so enjoy as you continue. Bye. See you next time.
So the evil eagle, remembering the wicked counsel given to him by the red fiery dragon, pondered in himself, saying,
I am now king of this kingdom, and with the powers of sorcery given to me by my god, the mighty red dragon, I have managed to deceive the other animals and bend them to my will. I am greatly feared like the lion once was, and no one dares question my rule. For they have seen what I do to those who feel brave enough to oppose me. But I am greatly disturbed, for this lion still breathes, and his very existence is a threat to me. I must kill him. Yes, I must. I must wipe his very existence so that he is never remembered in the kingdom. But I fear if I kill him openly, this may be seen as brutal and brash, and the other animals may rise up against me in fear that I may do the same to them one day, which I can, of course, and will if necessary. Didn't his God say on those tablets that if he continues in sin, that he will be brought down to nothing? Yes, the tablets did. Thus, this could mean eventual death to that stupid lion if he continues dishonoring his God by breaking his instructions. For there will be no defense for him from his God should he continue. Indeed, the red dragon was right. I will make him fall even deeper in transgression of those commands. I will appoint tax masters in my kingdom and promise elevation to those who will do my bidding stealthily. I will make sure that the lion brings forth no heir and his existence discontinued. I will make sure that he utterly forgets his heritage and position as king when I have successfully ensured his fall to the lowest state possible, and hopefully his eventual death. From the various kinds of poisons I shall subtly administer to him via my taskmasters, who shall pose as friends to the lion, seeming to walk in his favor and against my rule. But little will he know that they are my agents taxed to lead him deeper in transgression and finally to his death. I shall slowly deliver a death pill. I shall destroy his belief via philosophies. I shall taint his physiology and psychology via corruption and deceit as advised by the dragon.
Then the evil eagle thrilled by his intended schemes, commenced forthwith to whisper to the cunning and the strong of all the animals, promising them special positions and favors in his kingdom. He spoke to the fox for his cunning. He spoke to the bison for his strength. He spoke to the snake for his history and deceptive reputation. He spoke to the jackal for his reputed knowledge of the ins and outs of the kingdom. He spoke to the vulture for his greed and desperation. He spoke to the octopus, for he was a tale-bearer and a gossip. But most of all, the evil eagle wanted an agent from the seas to make his plot believable, and seeing to the lion that he also had support from the sea, especially from one who is reputed for convincing other sea creatures. Lastly, the evil eagle spoke to the tiger, who was the most difficult of all to convince because he was a close relative to the lion. So the evil eagle promised him the fattest reward, but instructed him to keep this arrangement strictly betwixt them both, so the others do not feel slighted or under-rewarded. So in all, the evil eagle spoke to 7 different animals: the fox, the bison, the snake, the jackal, the vulture, the octopus, and the tiger, owning to their strongest individual traits. Like the lion, the evil eagle did speak with the animals once every week. But unlike the lion, he chose to address all the animals in the kingdom on Sunday, the first day of the week. For although determined to assume power in all the areas and capacities the lion acted in, he made sure he did all things to the contrary. This meant that instead of the 7th day of the week, wherein the lion spoke righteous words of wisdom, given righteous instructions, and made it that the animals were allowed to rest all through the day, from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, after his address, a righteous law inspired by his God, the evil eagle, on the other hand, taught and encouraged much evil, making sure the animals worked more on Saturdays via incentives or force when needed. Also, everything that the lion stood for before his fall, the evil eagle, knowing his words and actions were inspired and motivated by his God, who gave him the power and the right of rulership, which he was jealous of and now coveted, invigorated the evil eagle the more to always perform the opposite as an act of revolt and defiance to the God of the lion. Encouraged by the red dragon, the evil eagle made sure he also taught opposing instructions and encouraged the contrary, which resulted in plunging the entire animal kingdom into great wickedness and evils. For both the evil eagle and the red dragon had immense hate towards the lion and his God. So, one Sunday, after the evil eagle had taught much evil and wickedness to the animals in the kingdom, he secretly signaled at the fox, the bison, the snake, the jackal, the vulture, the octopus, and the tiger to remain. This he did very discreetly, so the other animals did not suspect the thing. When the eagle was done with the address, these 7 animals seemed to have left the point of address along with the other animals to head to their respective abodes, but in reality, they only walked a few distance, then secretly concealed themselves, so as to appear that they had completely left the vicinity wherein the address was made, and thus came out only when they perceived all the animals seemed to have departed. Then the evil eagle elaborated on his plans and tasked each and every one of them with a special duty. To the fox, the evil eagle said,
You will pretend to have witnessed my weakness, and feed the lion with falsities of how to overthrow me. This way, when he attempts to do so, and he is caught, I will have reason to kill him, and be justified before the other animals in the kingdom.
To the bison, he said,
You will tell the lion that you shall fight with him whenever he, the lion, decides to get his throne back. For he will feel confident with your strength and size backing him. This will encourage the lion.
To the snake, he said,
You will pretend to be his friend and act against my rules, and as you have tricked others to fall through food and via subterfuge in the past, you will therefore be charged with the responsibility of feeding the lion with food and fruits that have been poisoned by your venom. But be careful in this deed not to administer high doses, but very little, so as not to kill him instantly, but rather to weaken him slowly to his death. Should he not die and then attempts to make war against me, victory will never be his, for by your venom he shall be weak and diseased. This way, if he challenges me, I shall kill him very easily in battle, and be looked upon by the other animals as a mighty leader indeed, to have easily conquered the great lion. This will also avail me the opportunity to kill him in a fight, and be justified in front of the other animals. In the event I am unable to pass judgment against him, absent pushback, owing to a few of the animals would still show pity for the lion. Also, you know that if you use high doses, you shall be quickly found out as the culprit, and this plot traced back to me. For every animal knows in what manner your poison kills its victims. Eating your poison meals will make the lion appear healthy on the outside, but cause progressive diseases on the inside, owing to the slow pace in the deterioration of his health. The lion will not notice that he is slowly dying until it is too late for him to save himself.
To the jackal, he said,
Everyone sees you as bold, adventurous, and fearless. You will thus promise to show the lion secret parts to get to me where I will least expect. also secret confines where I can be taken to be killed in secrecy. This will create some level of surety in his mind.
To the vulture, he said,
You shall tell the lion of your unending plans to kill me, so that you shall be king of the birds in the sky. A scheme I am well aware of course. You shall furthermore tell him that you hate the fact that I am now not only king of the sky, but also king of both the sky and of the whole kingdom. Tell him also that you will be especially useful to him in a battle, should I try to escape into the air. In such an event, you will finish the battle against me on his behalf in the skies. When I become extremely weak from fighting with him and fleeing from before his face on the ground, since he has no wings to fly to chase me down in the sky, this will further boost his confidence.
To the octopus, he said,
You will lie to the lion, telling him that all the sea creatures are in support of an insurrection against me, that you have heard whispers, and whenever he is ready, you will rally the other sea creatures, so that any day I ever come close to the sea creatures shall drown me. This will create a sense for the opportunity of an alternative plan in his mind, should all else fail.
To the tiger, he said,
You shall be as a Judas to the lion, seeing you are his closest kin, and that he has trusted you over the years. Your job will thus be to convince the lion that his fall was not because he broke the instructions of his God that he has been secretly grieving to you about, but rather that he always thought he was strong enough on his own, believing everyone loved him, and never stopped to think that there might be an insurrection. So therefore, he never saw the need for alliances and an army. Thus, you will pretentiously promise him your allegiance, and swear falsely to get the support of the other cat families to fight with him in battle. This is very crucial, as the lion will look to other forms of solutions instead of focusing on repentance to his God, and the keeping of the instructions which he broke before his fall, which is in reality the principal reason for his present lost state.
To the tiger, he added, approaching and whispering in his ears,
Note that for the sake of this plot, I spared your life, not ordering your execution when I was privy to your continued friendship with multiple visits and discussions with the lion, after I had strictly ordered every animal to treat him as filth. This also is why I have graciously, in addition, promised you more gifts, for I know he trusts you. Thus, wouldn't see your betrayal coming.
After the evil eagle was done speaking, he reconfirmed his promises to them all and reminded them of what they stand to gain from fulfilling these tasks diligently and faithfully. The 7 animals then whispered amongst each other, but the eagle could not make out what they were saying, for he was slightly elevated and a few meters away from them. So he spoke loudly in an upset tone, saying,
What is the matter? If you have reservations or something to say, then say it.
The fox then spoke.
We know you, and we know your reputation. We fear that you may con us in this arrangement, and not fulfill what you have promised.
Afterwards spoke the bison.
Yes, this is true. We have heard of your deeds in the past, for you have a track record of betrayal and deceit.
The snake, seeing occasion, opened his slippery mouth to speak.
Yes. I must say that I too have heard your tales, and I can only applaud your skill in deceit, for it is very close to mine. For I too am a cunning hunter like you, bruising the heels of my enemies and delivering the deadliest of poisons. After I have lured my prey, but in this matter, since it concerns me, I must also raise this issue of trust owing to your history.
The jackal, laughing, also spoke.
Yes, it is funny you speak of promises. It has been 5 years now since you made me a promise which you never kept. You even threatened when I asked for what you owed. So, how can we trust your promises?
The vulture, listening, then said,
I too will like to comment in this matter. And I must say that I do hate you, evil eagle. I hate your guts and your pride. My colleagues here have valid reasons cause to be concerned, for you have been so dubious in almost all your deeds in the past. You have mocked me over the years, and now you seek my help? Well, for power, I will agree to do this task you have so boldly put on me. But if you play any games with us, seeing that the lion's destruction is of great importance to you, we will come against you and take the side of the lion, using all you have told us against you. For your ways are questionable and detestable.
The octopus said,
Well, it seems my colleagues have spoken my mind. I have nothing more to say. And you, Tiger, do you feel the same way? I presume you have more to add to what your colleagues have uttered,
said the evil eagle.
I indeed feel the biggest guilt, for I will be betraying a near kin, and this action indeed has to be worth my time and the betrayal. So, I will plead that you do as you have promised.
Then the evil eagle, raging, said,
How dare you profess doubt and speak so much ill of my character? Are you not afraid of what I can do to you? Do you not fear that I can rally the other animals against you? Is it because I have called upon your assistance in this matter? You should be honored that I have carefully selected you all and offered you high positions in my cabinet, coupled with gifts to do as you please. But for my graciousness and the urgency of this matter, I will overlook your insults. So I ask you again, do you all agree to our arrangement?
Then, responding, they all said yes, and they forthwith departed to commence their respective tasks, as was instructed by the evil eagle. But indeed, they were right to distrust the eagle, for he had purposed in his heart never to fulfill his promises to them of status elevation in the animal kingdom, and the awarding of gifts upon completion, for he was greedy. He knew that if he ever did that, they will one day seek to rival him. Thus, their utterances was merely confirmation of his fears, which now caused the evil eagle to definitely resolve in his mind to kill them all after they have successfully delivered on their individual tasks. And of course, with the lion destroyed as well. Unknown to them, listening to their schemes and plots were the little birds who once spied on the lion and relayed all they had seen to the evil eagle in time past. As was in the case of the lion, they were not seen because of their petite size. Thus, the evil eagle and the 7 animals never spotted them. The tiny birds had decided to stay a little longer after the address of the evil eagle because in that area there were lots of worms in the ground. So they had decided to briefly remain for a quick snack to fill up their small bellies before heading home. After hearing all their plans, they decided to gather closely to whisper in an attempt to decide on what to do with the information they had heard. As they gathered as a group, one of them noticed that one other small bird continued boring greedily and relentlessly into the ground with its slender long beak in order to get more worms. So the small bird, who saw him amongst the gathering and whispering for an idea, shouted in anger,
What are you doing? Can't you see that we are having a discussion? You are expected to be part of our chats and brainstorming.
But the little bird paid him no mind until after he had bored so deep into the ground and bumped his beak against what looked like the tablet they once saw the lion reading the time they spied on him. Then he exclaimed,
Ouch!
for he hurt his beak. Afterwards, he screamed,
Hey guys, look what I found.
Curious, they then gathered to pull out the big tablet using their beaks. Then they read the tablets and screamed joyfully. For the tablet was hidden away by the god of the lion in time past to help him in the hour of his fall. On the tablet it was written,
If the lion humbles himself and prays to me, his God, and seek my face in repentance, turning from his wicked ways, then I will hear his prayers from heaven and will forgive him his sins, restoring him back to his position as king, and I will heal the kingdom.
The little birds then leaped for joy, for they were tired of the sufferings and the evils in the land under the rule of the evil eagle. But most especially because they never really recovered from the guilt of betraying the lion, having served the evil eagle. They thus were one of those few animals who felt pity for the lion. So they planned and purposed in their hearts to give this information to the lion, one way or the other. But they surely understood the need to be discreet for the sake of their lives. So for a month, they worked on a strategy, for they knew that the lion had little to no time because the agents of the eagle were already fast at work. During the space of time that the little birds were devising the strategy, the agents were far deep and respectively successful in their assignments. The fox had already convinced the lion of knowing the weakness of the eagle. The bison had already assured the lion of his backing in the event of a battle. The snake had begun to feed the lion diverse delicacies, but unknown to the lion, and as was planned, tiny doses of his venom was used to poison the lion each time he fed him. The jackal had shown the lion a few secret passages and hideouts, and guaranteed him of their efficacy for the plan he had elaborated to him. The vulture had already boasted of having an army of large birds in the sky ready to kill the evil eagle. The octopus had assured the lion of the support of all the creatures in the sea. And finally, the tiger further encouraged the lion to continue breaking the laws which his God instructed him to keep, and even to do worse things. The tiger did sway and taught him to covet, steal, kill unjustly, lie, obtain by trickery and deceit, oppress the defenseless on a minute scale, and many more sins that the lion commit, taught to him by the tiger. But worst of all, the tiger managed to persuade the lion to worship some of the graven images the evil eagle had made of the dragon, by telling the lion that that was the source of the eagle's strength, and if he wanted to be as strong and even stronger than the eagle, he should forsake his God and worship the images which the eagle had made to honor the dragon religiously, as was instructed in the evil eagle's dreams by the dragon himself. While all these were happening, the evil eagle took some time to ponder over his plans and his kingship. One of the reflections that immediately entered his mind was something he never really took time to consider, which was what the dragon stood to gain in all of these. As he reflected deeper, he asked himself,
why has the red dragon decided to give me all these powers for next to nothing? Yes, he asked me to worship him as my God, but still doesn't explain why I have been showered unimaginable powers. What does he want in return? I know I will want something great in return if I am to ever give any animal all this power and influence.
As he thought to himself, the fiery red dragon suddenly appeared and forthwith spoke.
Evil eagle. Yes, you are right in your thinking. Although you have agreed to serve me as your God, having the animals worship the idols you have set up in my name and likeness, and done wickedness in the kingdom as I have instructed you in your dreams and in the use of divinations. The detestable and abominable practice in the eyes of the God of the Lion. A practice which has kept you and I in communication in the evil spirit realm. An act that has given you tremendous power over all the animals in the kingdom. I must confess that I did leave out the most important information because it wasn't necessary at the time. You see, the night I appeared to you was the end of the war I made in the heavens, of which I lost alongside a third of the angels, and thus I was cast down with them and relegated to the earth's realm. The day you agreed to serve me as your god was the day you signed the contract in blood, and your soul given to me for all of eternity, to do with as I please. Thus, you and your kind shall help me achieve my greatest desire, which I began the night I was cast down. You shall help me return to the heavens to make war with the god of the lion. After you have killed the lion, in no more than 1 month from now, you shall help me set nests in the heavens on the sides of the north. You shall use the animals that are now subject to your rule to help me dethrone the god of the lion in the heavens, as I have helped you dethrone the lion. For this task, you have no choice but to do my bidding. For the night you agreed to serve me as your god was the night you sold your soul to me. If you refuse to do this, or fail in your duties, the consequences shall be greater than you can ever imagine. Your hate for the lion and your prideful heart, which I too possess, had blinded and caused you to sell short the most precious thing you owned, your soul.
After the red dragon was done speaking, he then disappeared from before the presence of the evil eagle. The words of the dragon really disturbed and frightened the evil eagle, because he now understood that his hate caused him to settle for a crappy deal. He also realized that it was also in the red dragon's interests for the lion to die and not just his. And eventually, the wickedness which he encouraged made the evil eagle to understand that the dragon wanted firstly the lion's death, and eventually the death of all the animals in the kingdom, including himself, after he has served his purpose. The red dragon, by the evil eagle's deduction and resolution, hated all life in the animal kingdom, for the dragon despised the fact that as little as the lion is compared to his might was elevated by his god, who he too hated greatly and sought to overthrow before he was cast down. The red dragon badly wanted to destroy the lion, for he, not only being the apple of his god's eyes, but also before he was cast down, heard the prophecy of the eternal rule of the lion, which when it occurs will also bring about his destruction. So, like the eagle, his time was short. The evil eagle, now understanding the miserable contract he entered into, desperate to preserve his life the longest he possibly could, hastened and mounted pressure on his agents to quickly kill the lion. But luckily, just before the day broke, the little birds in the night stealthily navigated themselves to where the lion took rest on a daily basis. Once they arrived, they saw that the lion, although seemingly outwardly healthy, laid ill on the ground as a result of all the venom he had been consuming through time. He nevertheless still had some strength in him, so they woke him up from where he laid sickly and guilty for all the wickedness he had continued to do. Then the little birds told him all that they heard and showed him the tablet with the contents that they had found and read earlier. Then the lion spoke, weeping.
How can my God accept me now? After all I have done and continue to do in wickedness, I have allowed the tiger deceive me, and now I feel so hopeless and useless for all the evils I have hardened my heart and stiffened my neck to do. I have neither prayed since my fall or done any good thing, but instead I continue to do evil and break my God's commands. Tell me, how can he accept me now?
Then the birds dragged and pushed forward the new tablet that they found on the ground, wherein was written what the lion must do to repent and find again the favor of his God. Thus the little birds screamed at him, saying,
Read, 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 before it is too late.
Before leaving, one of the little birds cautioned him, saying,
Do not continue to eat of the food the snake brings to you. Although it looks desirable, it has been poisoned, and this is why you feel sickly. If you continue to eat what he brings, hence destroy your body and temple, you shall surely die.
The little bird added, saying,
If he, who is also called the serpent, brings more food, receive it, but tell him that you shall eat of it later.
So the birds left the new tablet with the lion and flew away from him to their abode. So surely, with the urgency put on the evil eagle by the red dragon, he promptly sent the snake to deliver twice the amount of the initial dose of his venom in the meals which he presented to the lion. But the lion told him that he was full and that he will eat of it later. But unknown to the snake, the lion had decided to fast and pray every day on a very high mountain called Mount Hermon. The next day, shocked to still see the lion very active, the snake then decided to deliver thrice the dose. He continued this for 40 days, increasing the dosage by 1, but still the lion did not die or show any sign of sickness. This had the snake confused as to how the lion was both alive and well. For each day that passed, and for every failed attempt, the lion only prayed harder and repenting in tears and observing the laws of his God more judiciously and religiously than he ever did. And on the evening, when the sun came down to mark the end of the 40th day of his prayer and fasting, the lion prayed, closing with the mention, Kwam Yisharala, Kwam Yisharala, Kwam Yisharala. Then there was a great thunder in the animal kingdom, which rattled all the animals, from the greatest to the smallest. And suddenly a bright light in the midst of the pitch darkness appeared in the sky that shone from the east to the west, which all the animals saw and trembled. The great light released lightning that burnt down all the graven images that the evil eagle had made in honor of the red dragon. The evil eagle then suspected that this was a sign of the end of his reign and the rising of the lion to his original position as the true righteous king. Then the evil eagle, attempting to hide, witnessed the light like a stone of fire descending from the heavens and fell upon him from where he hid and consumed the eagle whole, turning him into dusty ashes, and the smell of the fumes after he was burned was all that remained of his essence, which immediately disappeared as if he never existed. Then a thundering voice spoke from the heavens and said,
This is my chosen, and he shall rule over you all forever. And whoever shall oppose him and refuse to be subject to his rule shall be put to death.
Thus, the reign of the evil eagle came to a definite end, and with it went the end of the influence of the fiery red dragon. For he was judged by the god of the lion for his defiance and attempts on the chosen one destined to eternally rule the animal kingdom. The lion, now divinely reappointed as king, returned to the teaching of wisdom and the righteous laws of his God. To the 7 animals who helped the evil eagle, he made them eternal servants. And to the little birds, he appointed all 144 of them as governors over the kingdom as a reward for their kindness and uprightness. Jacob, Israel, Sharala.
Whoa. Okay now, so if you made it this far and you enjoyed the story, why don't you leave us a comment? We will definitely love to hear what you thought, sir, about the story. And of course, hear your opinions on the moral of the story. We are a brand new channel and we just need your support. So please drop a like, share this video, and of course, just before you head out, be sure to subscribe. This way, you are automatically notified on new posts. Doing this will keep us encouraged, motivated to keep making more lovely videos just like this one. Bye bye. See you next time.